So today we're going to discuss nodes and their encodings by Clasp diagrams. And I will use mostly the Blackboard, but I will sometimes show you some pictures because the topic well, sort of assumes that we have a lot of pictures. And what I'm going to do is to, let me spend first 5 minutes discussing what we're going to do today. And then we'll actually do what we are supposed to do today. So we know that nodes have some different representations in a generic planar projection. And these representations are useful in one another way to count some things. For example, to count Vassiliev invariants or Alexander polynomials or that sort of stuff. And one of them is, for example, Gauss diagram, which is a set of distinct points on a circle. And it's grouped into several ordered pairs represented by arrows. And it's usually used to calculate node invariants. But today we're going to...
Polina,
yeah.
It will be better if you write, for example, words Gauss diagrams and draw a Gauss diagram.
I can draw a diagram, I guess. Do you want me to draw an example? It's really not in the focus of the talk today, it's just an example.
Maybe, yeah.
So should I draw an example?
Maybe it's useful to draw Gauss
diagram. Mm-hmm. Okay, then. So for example, let's draw a Gauss diagram of the following nodes. Oh, what's going on? I'm sorry. Oh, someone's very happy to be here. So we have such a node. We can draw a Gauss diagram. Is everyone okay with the way I'm doing things and writing stuff?
Да, все видно, хорошо.
Cool. I'm sort of trying to avoid getting...
It is 4 rather than 5, yeah.
Yeah. And it's... I'm sort of trying to avoid giving you a lot of definitions now because those are really not in the focus of our talk. Mm-hmm. So Gauss diagram is a way to represent a node as an oriented circle with some chords, and these chords are arrows, and they have signs. And there are some rules to represent every crossing with a signed arrow. And Gauss diagrams were used for quite a long time, but the problem with them is that when you apply some moves to them, some ready master moves, you sometimes obtain virtual nodes that do not really correspond to an actual node. And that's sort of not very nice. And so today we're going to discuss completely, well, not completely, but somewhat different approach that is called Clasp diagrams. Actually, I don't know, what's their translation to Russian? What's the preferred translation to Russian?
I also do not know a correct word for a clasp. I'll try to look for, and you just continue.
Yeah, okay. It's just that I tried, but I didn't find anything. I suppose that there is no translation that everyone agrees upon. And so today we're going to discuss a different approach, class diagrams, that we're going to define in a few moments. And while Gauss diagrams are defined by crossings, class diagrams are more attuned to braids, because every crossing can be seen as an elementary braid. And every pure braid is a product of full twists. And so we define class diagrams through full twists. If you understand that you're hearing a lot of words that you do not know, that's okay. I'm going to define everything in a few moments. I'm just giving you an overview of what we're doing today. And
может быть, хорошее слово сцепка.
Да, это, наверное, хорошо. Это, наверное, хорошо отражает. Сцепок. So why bother? Why do different type of diagrams? And the reason for that is that class diagrams, surprisingly, are very useful and very suitable to count things, to count Vassiliev invariants, and to obtain Alexander polynomials, and well, Seifert surface of a node too. So they make some proofs, proving some things about Vassiliev invariants considerably more easy. And that's why we're interested in them. So what we're going to do today, we're going to define class diagrams. We're going to understand how they are related to braids. And then we're going to show that there is a finite set of moves that allows us to represent by a class diagram each isotopy class of nodes, and that will ensure that we can get a node in an isotopy class of nodes only from class diagrams which can be transformed into each other by a finite sequence of this finite sequence of moves from this finite set of moves. And we don't. What's good is that we do not obtain any virtual nodes on our way. And then we will discuss how to encode how to encode a Seifert surface, how to get an Alexander polynomial, and how to count Vassiliev invariants from Clasp diagrams. So,
значит, в докладе речь пойдет о новом способе представления узлов. Значит, диаграмма узлов является не единственным таким способом. Есть еще много разных, которые, в том числе и таких, которые мы на семинаре не рассматривали. Но вот сейчас новый способ, предложенный Мостовым и Поляком, они назвали этот способ Clasp diagrams, что я предлагаю переводить как диаграммы сцепки или они утверждают, что этот способ удобен для вычисления многочленов Александера, вообще инвариантов Васильева. И там имеется конечный набор движений, которые преобразуют диаграмму при изотопии узла.
Thank you. Today we're going to discuss mostly usual compact nodes that are some embeddings from S1 to R3. And we're going to discuss the so-called long nodes, which are embeddings from a line to R3. And such that it coincides with an embedding t to 0 minus t outside of some compact subset of R. So there is a reason for us to.
There is just another comma, yeah, after 0.
Yeah. There's some reason for us to work with long nodes, coming from the fact that we're going to work with braids. We'll understand it, I think, that something in like 10 minutes. And so let's define a clasp diagram. What is a clasp diagram? Is a chord diagram where chords are ordered and equipped with a sign. So I think it will be better if I just give you an example. For example, let's consider a chord diagram on a sphere, on a circle. A good example is so. Here is an example of a clasp diagram. So it's just a chord diagram where chords are ordered and ordered strictly from right to left, from strictly clockwise. And have some signs. Note that unlike in Gauss diagrams, we do not have arrows here.
We do not have arrows, but we know about which chord is above which one at an intersection point, yeah?
Yeah. And actually, if we have a chord diagram, it means that we have some marked points on the boundary. And one of them is a distinguished point. Let's say that we have a distinguished point here. And so if we broke a circle in this distinguished point, we can have a long clasp diagram, which will be like this. Sorry, a little slow. So this is 3. This is 1. This is 2. So they are ordered. The order is the order of their leftmost points. First,
yeah. You use a non-standard orientation of the circle. It is clockwise rather than counterclockwise.
Yes, and if we do counterclockwise, we actually obtain.
Okay, let's stay as it is.
I don't know. They prefer clockwise.
Yeah.
We can do it counterclockwise, and then we will have a descending clasp diagram. But it doesn't really matter.
Ну, напишите, что это clasp diagram. Мгм. Пожалуйста.
Mhm. So the order is natural, and we can encode a class diagram by an n matrix. For a pair of intersecting chords, we will, if they, for a pair of chords, if they intersect, we will write A, E, G equals 1 if E is less than G, and -1 if E is bigger than G. And of course, E passes over G, so G. So let's write a class diagram. And I didn't define the diagonal. The diagonal is just the signs of the chords. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. On the diagonal, we will have 1, 1, -1, because third chord is with minus sign and first two are with plus sign. And who can tell me what's in here? Hey guys, you here with me?
We do not hear. We do not see where is here. So.
Oh, you do not see where is here. Yeah, I see. You do not see my cursor. Okay, what's here?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Anyone?
So the symmetric entry also is 0.
Okay, I sort of spoiled it. But what's here?
We do not see the cursors. Yeah, like that, yeah.
Why do you have non-zero diagonal entries?
Non-zero diagonal entries are for signs of the chords.
Thank you.
На единичке и на двойке написаны плюсы, поэтому там по диагонали стоят единицы, а на тройке написан минус, поэтому там по диагонали стоит минус единица. Теперь что стоит в клетке 1,3?
Anyone?
Ну, единица должна стоять.
О.
Correct.
So, and why A12 entry is equal to 0?
Because the second and the first chords do not intersect. So here is 1. Then here we will have, what we'll have here? 1, 2, symmetric. What we'll have on the remaining places? Anyone?
I suppose that also.
The thing is, I do not see the audience. I only see the blackboard, and I cannot understand if you're still here with me. My questions time to time.
One also, I suppose.
But sorry, how did it happen that you have one in the entry 1, 3 and one in the entry?
Oh, yeah. I didn't.
Why A13 is equal to 1?
-1. It's okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. For some reason didn't write it. So here.
Тоже -1.
Yeah. And here.
So why A23 is equal to -1?
Because 2 is on the top.
And
it's okay.
Нет, да. Нет,
Smaller
я
than-
so
Yeah.
I just I didn't understand the definition of Aij and what does it mean?
So here we have A2, 3. And Aij is 1 if
This definition means that if I is less than j, so above the diagonal we always have minus ones and below ones, or what the definition?
no, not quite. Maybe let me write it. Maybe let me write it.
As written over diagonal, it's yes, positive,
Mhm,
non-negative, and under, not
So once again, if we have an intersecting pair of chords, I, J, we have Aij equal to 1, I less than j, minus 1, a bigger than j. So okay, I'll just try to write my matrix myself without asking you questions, because I think I'm more confused by that than you.
So over diagonal, they couldn't be negative.
That's really
This is the
strange
science
definition.
of this is the science.
And we can understand it as we have to have twisted chord, and the matrix is intersection and homology, I suppose.
Yeah, but we'll see how it will work when we associate a node to the diagram.
And so we do not have the information which chord is over, which chord is under. So this intersection of chords on the picture, they are like, we have no information who is over, who is under. Am I right? Yes?
Why? No, we do have information who is over, who is under.
Yeah, we take a chord which is above, and if its number is smaller than the number of the chord down, then it is 1. Yeah?
Yeah.
And negative 1 otherwise. Значит,
So 2, 3.
Значит, 1,3 должен быть единичкой, а 2,3 должно быть...
No, the thing is that it's not symmetric. Only have those. We only have those.
I see the problem. Your arc diagram is different from your chord diagram. У вас кто сверху, кто снизу на дуговой диаграмме другие, чем...
Да. Oops.
Okay,
let's look only...
По какому правилу выписывается, какая хорда сверху, какая хорда снизу?
Это информация в диаграмме. Это информация в диаграмме.
Но это из узла как-то? Это способ
Нет,
представления
это нам потом...
Я сейчас нарисую узел, который это представляет.
So we a priori have the left-hand side diagram from whatever we don't know yet.
А если узлы еще, а если эти хорды, часть из них сверху, часть из них снизу, тогда хорды могут как-то переплетаться и заузливаться? Тогда тоже не вполне понятно. Они обязательно должны быть прямолинейными отрезками, а там, что там будет, если вдруг между хордами какие-то движения Рейдемайстера происходят?
Ну, у нас будут движения, не совсем Рейдемайстера, но они будут. Нет, подождите, почему заузливаться? разрешено их рисовать только как прямые на окружности. Я просто ее развернула. Я, видимо, ее развернула и сделала это не по очереди, что ли.
Мгм.
Да нет, почему?
Сейчас вот как написано, 1 и 3 пересекаются. Вот А, 1 и 3. Хорды пересеклись, 1 меньше 3. Стало быть, там должна быть единица.
А, да, я ее развернула, я просто...
Но как мы учитываем, что один проходит над тремя или под тремя? Это в знаке
Нет.
как-то учитывается или нет?
Это знаки учитываются. Это учитываются знаки в положении. Видите, эта штука несимметричная.
Мгм.
Ну еще раз, вот А, 1, 3. Как написано, 1 и 3 пересекаются? Или нужно, чтобы они...
Сейчас Полина приведет в соответствие хордовую
Да.
диаграмму.
Или нужно, чтобы пересекались именно 1, 3 так, чтобы крест был, ну, вот в правильную сторону?
Да, судя по всему, нужно, чтобы именно в правильную сторону крест был.
Нет, в каждой точке пересечения диаграммы мы смотрим на верхнюю хорду и на нижнюю хорду. Если номер верхней хорды меньше номера нижней хорды, то мы пишем единичку в соответствующую клетку. А в противоположную клетку, в симметричную клетку, мы пишем 0. Вот. А если, значит, каждому пересечению этой же этой хорды соответствует 1, 0 и либо единичка, либо минус единичка в симметричной клетке. Well.
Yeah, it
Вот
works.
Ну, то есть, грубо говоря, у нас есть, если смотреть на матрицу, то у нас есть матрица, которую мы назовем Е, хотя это не совсем идентичная матрица. Я перешла на русский, это ничего?
Нет, это не очень хорошо, лучше на
Okay,
английском.
if we look at matrices, we have a E matrix which is diagonal, and in which AII is 1 if the ith chord is with positive sign, and -1 if the ith chord is with negative sign. And L is a matrix obtained by applying this rule. So in our case, it's and this is E plus L, and that's an encoding of our chord diagram. And actually, this how this corresponds to a knot, I'll draw right now.
But still, I have a question. The matrix, does it determine the clasp diagram?
Yes. If you give me a matrix, I suppose it should be admissible matrix. But if a matrix follows some rules, then I can write then I can make a class diagram out of this matrix. Like I mean, obvious rules. For example, you cannot have it symmetric, and you cannot have it with any over than 0 and 1 and -1. Maybe I can draw a knot.
Excuse me.
But as I understood, we don't know what is clasp diagram, yeah?
Why don't we?
What is the definition of the clasp
Correspond to
diagram?
knots yet. I'll draw a knot now and explain how this diagram corresponds to knots.
So we don't know the definition of the clasp diagram.
Yeah, we know the definition.
What is the definition?
Definition is like follows. It is a chord diagram with where chords have signs, and where for each two intersecting chords, we know which of the two is above the other one and which is below.
So it's just binary information about every pair of intersecting chords, right? It's not geometric underpassing or overpassing. It's just somehow ordering of in a pair of intersecting chords.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
At the moment, everything is clear, I believe. Хорошо, продолжаем.
And so what is a chord actually? A plus chord corresponds to a crossing that goes like this. And a minus chord corresponds to a crossing that goes like this. And so now I'm trying to draw my knot on my diagram. And I'll have something like this. Almost down here.
Мгм.
And I had a string, like an actual string, and I made this knot. And if we make it look a little better, then it will look like
Мгм. То есть по диаграмме сцепок восстанавливается узел. Will it always be a knot or a link sometimes? Polina?
yeah, I'm
Yeah, you are drawing.
not very sort of like I can't draw an answer, and I just want to draw a knot looking a little
Okay.
bit more clear to the audience than it is now.
Mhm. Great.
And the thing is that it's a knot. It's not a link.
Yeah, it's a knot, but is it always the case? Всегда ли узел получается?
A good thing about clasp diagrams is that we always obtain a knot.
A knot, rather than a link. Great.
I mean, we can have a
А на
string.
вертикальном мостике нету зацепки. Это так специально или случайно?
Случайно. Секундочку. Тут будет вот.
Ну и доказательство, что просто мы по объемлющей окружности идем, заходим туда, возвращаемся, ну, на объемлющую окружность в ту же точку и проходим всю объемлющую окружность. А значит, проходим все.
Да, наверное, это правильно.
So it's always a knot.
Okay, great.
And we can have mirror operations on that knot. I think I'll better show you a picture than draw it myself. You can see it, right? I didn't break anything.
Yeah.
You can see a picture that was not drawn by me, right? Okay, cool. And that's some mirror operations. And that's why when we discussed orientation, I told you that it's not very important because we can work with counterclockwise oriented clasp diagrams and we can work with clockwise oriented clasp diagrams. And the first one will be called descending clasp diagram and the second one we call just a clasp diagram, but it really doesn't matter. And so we have two theorems that we want to prove. I think I will delete everything by now. Is that okay?
Yeah. At the moment,
Okay,
it's
so the first theorem is that each isotropy class of knots can be represented by a Clasp diagram. And the second thing is that we have, okay, I think I have to define the moves, but the second theorem is that any two Clasp diagrams that give rise to isotopic knots are related by a finite sequence of moves from a finite set. I'll not write it down just yet. I'll show you the moves, and then I'll do it. And so the moves are very simple. First move is if we have two non-intersecting chords with consecutive heights, like this, nothing between them here. We can exchange their order. Let me, A and B.
Напишите, что это moves. Значит, теорема утверждает, что любой узел можно представить в виде диаграммы сцепки. Я думаю, что она доказывается как-нибудь по индукции, по количеству точек самопересечения у диаграммы.
You're pretty much right, but to prove it, we will need to work with braids.
Okay.
If you want, we can prove this diagram first and then talk about.
Probably no. Probably it's more interesting to have a look how they apply these Clasp diagrams to computing invariants.
So we can. This will be called A move. We can exchange order of two non-intersecting chords with consecutive heights. Actually, I do not quite like how I draw it. Let me like this. I will not. I exchanged chords, and they should have exchanged orders. This is I. This is I plus 1. This will be A and B. The second thing is we can make a cyclic shift of orders of the chords. And I think that's pretty obvious. The C move I'll better show you here.
Напишите, что B это cyclic reordering.
They have it written here, I guess. I wanted to draw pictures as it goes, but then I realized that it's probably too long. So we can erase an isolated chord, which is, I guess, pretty obvious. We can erase a pair of parallel chords with consecutive heights and opposite signs. And why we can do it is, that's why, because if we have such a thing, then we can actually untangle it by reading masters with moves. And the most, well, not really difficult, but the most complex thing here is the 4 Clasp move that takes this diagram. Do you see my cursor?
Yeah.
To this diagram. And this is so is shown on this picture.
Sorry, I'm afraid now I do not see.
Anything or
The last thing I see is move A. Draw.
is it the case for everyone?
Кто-нибудь видит случай С?
No, I could see
Yeah.
only moves A.
No, only A.
That's weird.
And by the way, I don't see the cursor.
Wait, so you did
Now I see it.
do you see a printed picture?
No.
Nope.
Oh,
No.
okay. So Zoom can do that. Okay. I'll fix that now. Okay. So what can you see now?
Okay. Now
Printed picture, yeah.
we do see a printed picture. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the move C is this one.
Mm-hmm. So it is symmetry. Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So not quite symmetry. We change the intersection of the
We look at the same picture from the other side of the bracket.
From the other side, we rotate.
Yeah.
And that's why we can do that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
we can also erase two consecutive words with consecutive case and opposite signs, which I guess is pretty obvious. And we can also erase an isolated chord, which is pretty obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the picture. Here's the pictures. I don't think I can. They need explaining. And so these moves, I'll make them a little smaller. Okay. Or I won't. Yeah. So these moves A, B, C1, C2, and C4 are just it. Any two clasp diagrams that give rise to isotopic nodes are related by a finite sequence of moves A, B, C1, C2, and C4.
Is this a direct consequence of Reidemeister theorem, or it requires some more?
No, it requires heavily exploiting braids and some things that we know about braids. To explain it briefly, some of these things follow from Reidemeister moves, and some of these things follow from how we present the braids, and we will use Margulis-McCammon presentation, or we will use Artin presentation to get same sets of to get sets of generators. And actually, some of these moves correspond to these braid generators. And not generators, but relations on these generators.
Okay.
I think that I will not prove this theorem because I can send people proof afterwards, and it's basically just looking at the pictures. So it's not difficult. Just a lot of pictures, 2 whole pages worth of pictures.
Great.
And I think it's more interesting to discuss some polynomials and invariants. I think that everyone can agree.
Yeah.
If we have time, I'll prove theorem 1 and explain how braids are entangled in this whole construction, because I think it's very beautiful. So let's start with, now I can see my cursor too. Let's start with Seifert surfaces. and Alexander polynomials. Do I have to define any of those?
Maybe not now, because recently we have several talks on Alexander polynomial. But probably it's worth to define Seifert surface.
Okay, so Seifert surface it is, huh? And I think I'll just give formal definition. It's not difficult.
Mm-hmm.
L be an oriented knot. Or link in R3. Seifert surface, I will denote it by SS, is compact, connected, oriented, surface S, embedded in R3, such that L is boundary of S, and orientation on L comes from S, is an induced orientation on S. Well, and every connected component of S has non-empty boundary. So it's basically a way to do a surface from a knot.
Or not from a
Or
surface.
not from a surface. Yeah, it goes both ways. I actually think I use a different word now. I don't know how that happened, but like whatever. I think that we can draw a Seifert surface corresponding to a Clasp diagram just to see how it works. And I'll draw the most boring diagram you can think of, like that. And then a Seifert surface will be like that. And we will have not to make a mistake.
Значит, поверхность Сейферта – это такая поверхность в трехмерном пространстве, что интересующий нас узел является ее границей, то есть это поверхность с краем. И если задана диаграмма узла, обычная плоская диаграмма, то есть хороший способ рисовать поверхности Сейферта. Вот по диаграмме тоже можно нарисовать поверхность Сейферта, соответствующего узла. Этот способ состоит в том, что мы каждую хорду заменяем на скрученную ленточку, причем количество скручиваний зависит от того, от того, на хорде написан плюс или минус, да? Is it true?
Not the, не количество, а ориентация.
Направление. Направление.
То есть, если бы это было минус, то вот здесь была бы выше вот эта штука. Вы не видите, наверное.
Видим, видно.
А вот здесь была бы выше вот эта штука, и здесь была бы выше вот эта штука.
То есть направление скручивания.
Да, направление скручивания. Ну, это логично, потому что мы же делаем из узла, а в узле плюс и минус определяют направление того, где зацепление, что зацепление выше, что ниже. Направление зацепления определяют.
Да, по-английски тоже это скажите, пожалуйста.
Okay, so this is a chord not a chord, a Clasp diagram, and we obtain Seifert surface by having a ribbon to which we attach another ribbon, which is tangled, I guess. It's called tangled, which is flipped 2 times here and here according to the sign. So the sign is plus here. So these 2 lines are on the top, and if the sign was minus here, we would have something like this. So this is minus. We should draw it. This is minus, and what we have here, and here we have this. Is plus. Oh, because, to recall, plus corresponds to, not to make a mistake. And minus corresponds to this.
Yeah, and the boundary is exactly
Exactly the node.
Exactly the clasp represented by the chord. I see.
So I think I'll actually use another blackboard. I don't know why I have 2 blackboards. I'm sorry. Somehow happened that Zoom decided to give me 2 blackboards. And new blackboard, let's recall that we know we have matrix L and matrix E corresponding to our Clasp diagram, such that matrix L plus E defines our Clasp diagram and is defined by Clasp diagram. And we will call them linkling and sign matrices of a Clasp diagram, because this matrix corresponds to how the clasp links, clasp link, the chord, how the chord links in the clasp diagram, and this matrix just corresponds to the signs of the chords. And we will define a new matrix which is called SD with coefficients in and we will define it as follows. Where we had 1 in L, it's also n times n matrix. Where we had 1, we will have C minus 1. We will have minus 1. We will have C in minus 1 power minus 1. We will also have we will also have a symmetric. So, you know, I probably better do it without using L, because otherwise we'll be very difficult to understand. So if E passes over G and E is less than G, then Sij equals T minus 1 Sgi equals T in power minus 1 minus 1. So it's not quite symmetric, but it's sort of symmetric in a way that we define it symmetrically. And if E is bigger than G, we have Sij equal 1 y minus t Sg equal 1 minus t minus 1. And we will have Sii minus Ei. So if the chord I is positive, then Sii is surprise negative. And otherwise, if I is negative, then Sii is positive. And everything else is 0. So we have some weird matrix. Why do we want it? And we want it for a simple reason. Let's denote the Alexander polynomial by delta. Delta k t, where k is the knot. And the Alexander polynomial is just the determinant of St, so very easy to count. Sd, I didn't name it, I guess. It's the matrix encoding.
Mm-hmm.
And we sort of just call it like that. And so it's nice because we can get a matrix from a chord diagram and immediately obtain an Alexander polynomial.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a theorem. So I guess let's prove it. Right?
Okay. Yeah, it's a good idea.
I'll delete everything, I guess. So let's prove it. The question is everyone still with me? Because I only hear Sergei Konstantinovich and...
Нет, конечно, всех просят выключать их звук просто для того, чтобы не мешать. Все здесь. Everybody's here. Don't worry.
Okay. I don't even see the number of participants, so I'm completely in the blue here.
More than 40.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so proof. Let's consider the matrix to n like to n that we write like this. This is the identity matrix.
And what's n?
N is the number of chords.
Mm-hmm. Please write this down. То есть, если n число chord, то мы можем выписать такую матрицу, которая уже выписывалась. Там есть тождественная матрица I, там есть матрица минус E, которая диагональная, как я понимаю, и матрица L, которая содержит все элементы матрицы сцепок, кроме диагональных.
Yeah,
Is it true?
absolutely.
Okay.
And let's recall that the determinant of such a matrix is as follows. Well, of course, if D is invertible. But this is a diagonal matrix, so of course it's invertible. So determinant of matrix V is, actually, you know what, I probably just better do it like that. So Alexander polynomial is defined by Seifert matrix. And by definition, we have it like this. So lo and behold, power n determinants. Hopefully I won't make a mistake. Okay, so the thing is that Alexander polynomial is defined up to a sign and up to a multiplication by t. So we can just erase determinant minus e. It's just a sign. It's a diagonal matrix of ones and minus ones. And note that just by definition, SD is as follows. Just how we define it. SE. And so if we try to count the determinants, we will...
Что-то скобки лишние.
Yeah, one of them. So if we try to count the determinant, we will understand that this, well, I need more colors, is just determinant.
Окей. То есть, по сути дела, это определение многочлена Александера совпадает со стандартным.
Ну да.
And let me recall that also the Alexander polynomial is not a Vassiliev invariant, a finite order invariant, but its coefficients are finite order invariants. Each a coefficient of a given power of t is a finite order invariant of nodes.
I think that I will omit giving any examples because we're sort of short of time.
Yeah.
And let's go to Vassiliev invariants, actually. The nicest things. Like, finally, we have Vassiliev invariants. I also suppose that I should not define them. Everyone knows them.
Yeah. No need to define.
Okay. So let's denote by D the set of all clasp diagrams and let's have a free abelian group spanned by D, which will denote by ZT. And let's have a map from this group to this group to itself. And E will send a diagram to the sum of all its subdiagrams. For example, let's do something simple. Let's do minus plus will be sent to itself plus this plus this plus nothing. So, we assume that we know the theorem that we didn't prove, that any two clasp diagrams giving rise to isotopic nodes are related by a finite sequence of moves, 5 moves that we defined. And we can consider differences of diagrams, of pairs of diagrams, D minus D prime, which are where D and D prime are related by finite sequence of moves from these 5 moves. And these differences will span some group, some subgroup, or the D. And well, if you have a subgroup, we can have a quotient. The D. We will define it by ZK. And also we can have a quotient that goes like this. Because, I mean, I is clearly, I will clearly take a group to a group.
So R is the subgroup generated by
differences.
By the moves, yeah?
Yeah.
То есть у нас есть движение диаграмм сцепок, которые не меняют узлов. Вот. Есть теорема, которая утверждает, что любые две диаграммы сцепок, представляющие один и тот же узел, могут быть получены друг из друга последовательностью таких движений. Поэтому если мы возьмем подгруппу, порожденную всеми разностями эквивалентных относительно этих движений диаграмм, и профакторизуем группу ZD по этой подгруппе R, то мы получим в точности группу, порожденную узлами ZK. Угу.
And I erased I, but I is just a map that sends a diagram to the sum of all its subdiagrams. We can also have a quotient. We will denote it by A, and the map I induces an isomorphism between ZK and A. And let's consider AN, which is a quotient of A. By all clasp diagrams. We're very, very close to Vassiliev invariance. Just one more step. With more than anchords. No, strictly more than anchords, sorry. So IN will be the corresponding map sending Z K to AN. Is that okay and clear? Because I understand that that's a lot of notation that suddenly dropped on you.
Да, и тут утверждается какая-то очень сильная вещь, как мне кажется, что если мы профакторизуем нашу группу диаграмм сцепок по другой подгруппе, а именно по идеалу, которая порожденному суммами всех поддиаграмм. Значит, у нас есть отображение, которое каждой диаграмме сопоставляет сумму всех ее поддиаграмм. И мы рассматриваем идеал в нашей группе ZD, порожденный этой подгруппой. И берем фактор по этому идеалу, обозначаем его через А. И тогда утверждается, что А и группа А изоморфна группе узлов, группе, порожденной узлами по сложению. Причем, видимо, изоморфизм...
Получается, что изоморфизм, как бы, что и индуцирует этот изоморфизм.
Да, что И индуцирует этот изоморфизм, потому что изоморфизм-то сам по себе штука не очень серьезная, поскольку у нас две группы, каждая с бесконечным числом образующих, чего бы им не быть изоморфными. А вот то, что отображение, которое сопоставляет каждому узлу вот элемент группы диаграмм, устанавливает этот изоморфизм. Вот это утверждение кажется сильным. Вот. Окей.
Это утверждение сильное, а при этом самое интересное, что они его вообще утверждают как что-то абсолютно очевидное. Я попыталась найти в литературе и, к сожалению, не смогла найти, откуда они это взяли. Они ни на что не ссылаются, они просто пишут это как что-то совершенно очевидное. Наверное, возможно, эти люди знали что-то, что делает это очень очевидным, но, к сожалению, я не знаю.
Может быть, оно и очевидное, но я пока сходу этого не вижу. Maybe it is obvious, but I do not see this right now. Well, and where are Vassiliev invariants here?
let's highlight this because it's sort of a very strong thing that gives us our whole result. And now finally, Vassiliev invariance. So theorem. M is an abelian group. N is a non-negative integer. Consider a homeomorphism, any homeomorphism, that takes an to M. And not only is the composition of omega and In a Vassiliev invariant, sorry, of order N. But all Vassiliev invariants of order N are obtained this way. So that's really a strong theorem.
All Vassiliev invariants of order N. So we have a filtration, yeah, a filtration given by diagrams with at most 10 codes. Мы рассматриваем подгруппу, порожденную диаграммами сцепок, в которых максимум n-хорд, да? Да. Так мы получаем фильтрацию на пространстве диаграмм. И всякий инвариант порядка не выше n получается как композиция с гомоморфизмом из этой группы. Okay, but this sounds rather strange. This sounds rather strange because IN is not very complicated. It is just, it replaces a diagram with the sum of all its subdiagrams. So it contains not more information than the diagram itself, than the original diagram itself. So it looks like, okay, great.
Okay, let's go on to the proof then.
Does it have any applications? Does the theorem have any applications in the paper?
Well, they have some examples that allow them to count Vassiliev invariants.
Maybe examples are more productive than a proof.
The proof is not very hard, and also perhaps I want to reformulate the theorem a little before I go to examples, because it will facilitate counting them. Actually, this theorem, an analog of this theorem, was proved by Gussarev in, wait a second, I will check, in 2000. But for Gauss diagrams, and it was quite difficult and quite a complicated proof. because he had to keep track on the realizability of the diagrams, which is here for obvious reasons. And that's why clasp diagrams are so good. And Gusarov denoted by, if Gusarov had a pair of clasp diagrams A and B, he denoted like that the number of subdiagrams of B.
Isomorphic to
Yeah.
A, yeah? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And he denoted by KB just the nodes corresponding to B. And so the formulation goes as follows. If we have an integer valid. Vassiliev invariant of order n.
Of order at most 10, usually.
Yeah. We can have an integer function on clasp diagrams that V is our invariant that takes A to V on A. I don't know, let's call it VF. Function, first of all, it vanishes on the diagrams with more than n chords. And Vassiliev invariant KB, just the sum of all possible diagrams of A, E, V. And also vice versa, every not invariant that has an expression of this type is a Vassiliev invariant of order at most 10.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, it's what Gusarov proved for Gauss diagrams, and it's what they use for.
Mm-hmm. So the proof is based on the Gusarov theorem for.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I see.
And let's have a look at examples, I guess, because we're running out of time.
Yeah, we have run out of time already, so there is no
I'm
need
sorry,
to hurry. There is need to hurry, therefore.
Okay. Okay, so the thing is that this A, B is linear. And so for first two Vassiliev not invariants, you can have the following formula.
This is Polyak-Vero type of formulas, yeah?
Yeah.
Значит, мы обсуждали на семинаре формулы для инвариантов Васильева типа Поляка-Веро, и здесь они пользуются этими формулами для того, чтобы выразить значение первых инвариантов Васильева, младшего порядка, как функции на диаграммах цепок.
Well, one of the authors of this article is Polyak, so
Он знает.
it happen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like this, like this. So that's first to Vassiliev not invariance.
And here are diagrams without signs on the chords.
Yes, on some diagrams, signs and chords are signs and heights or order of the chords. They are omitted, and it means that we should take the sum over all possible ways to put chords, to put signs and heights on the chords.
I see.
And
там, где нарисована диаграмма, в которой нет знаков на хордах и не указано, какая хорда выше какой в точке пересечения, нужно суммировать суммировать такие поддиаграммы по всем возможным расстановкам знаков и по всем возможным выборам прохождения над или под.
And it's also important to have a coefficient of a diagram in the sum equal to the product of the signs we emitted.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I wrote it down in its full form, it would be very monstrous.
Yeah, no need. Okay, then probably we should stop here. Are there any questions? Вопросы докладчику, которые не были заданы в процессе доклада? No questions. So, Polina, thanks a lot. It looks like you have been doing distant presentations for at least 5 last years.
What? Oh, thank you.
You look very experienced and act very freely with the instruments. So thanks a lot. We'll meet in a week. Thanks to everybody for participating.